We are live. Greetings, campers. All right, so I'm going to wish everybody a happy Easter. Got too many people to send everybody an email, so I'm going to do it here and wish everyone a happy Easter. That's a happy American Easter or a Catholic Easter. The Eastern Orthodox do it this year a month later. I didn't even check the date. That would be the Greek Orthodox and the Russian Orthodox. I think Ukrainians do Ukrainian or they do the Russian Orthodox. Anyway, greetings, salutations, and best holiday wishes. All right, got a lot of interesting updates, but I think as per the title, this is very huge out here. There's Candace, good morning and happy Easter, and God bless. All right. Now, DeSantis, this is great. And I found you the article and the actual executive order. He issued an executive order on Good Friday outlawing the COVID passport. Very good. And I put the executive order there. It's not the most powerful order ever, but again, this is all tied to the emergency, the declared state of emergency. And I still think he's playing politics to make sure he keeps that federal money flowing. But he's saying it is illegal for, say, sporting events to require proof of vaccination or proof of a negative test. All kinds of facilities, whether it's anything, which is great. Sporting events, concerts, businesses, etc. Now, I see huge issues arising with this. I'm seeing his attorney general and the state is going to have to sue in federal court the federal government if, and it's a big if, they mandate this COVID passport. But the push is there, and the push is coming from the tech industry in order to position themselves into more surveillance, data mining, transferring, selling it, and the fees to do all of that, right? So it's really nothing about what they say it is. It's a what should we say, a different agenda. Have to be careful where we're talking at here, right? So I did have, and here's a quick update, did have a great discussion with Shannon in our architect department, and I think what we're going to do, I don't know if we should combine her with the engineering department because this could get confusing for us. I'm going to put that link in. We did it on Zoom, and it was actually interesting. We certainly discussed a lot of stuff and resolved the question of the effluent and the surveillance of the wastewater treatment plants that and the wastewater that they were talking about, right? On the CDC articles and links that they had been discussing. It's amazing. The public-private partnership, the testing procedures, the sample accumulation. They're talking about the whole deal. And the question is why, right? They want to see about the COVID in the waste, or do they want to test for the polyethylene glycol, which is the artificial fat that wraps the mRNA to allow penetration into cells without rejection, and thus have the mRNA as the, we'll call it the computer code, to write to the DNA. And what does that word cause it to express? The DNA expresses, the genes express different things, whether they're quiet or active, right? Very interesting experiments going on, isn't it? Remember, it's an emergency use authorization, and they're collecting data. All right, so I'm going to put that in the Patreon section. For those with inquiring minds exclusively. Next, number 3, I numbered the links for you here. One is DeSantis' the passport ban. That is a brief press conference. And then, well, that's actually real good. I'm trying to remember because they're both here. The COVID liability protection for businesses was from the day before. And what he's doing is saying, hey, businesses will not be sued if they're complying with the recommendations of safety if they're open. People will say, oh, Well, I got COVID there. Well, how are you going to prove that? I'm always curious about that. You know, he goes, oh, you got COVID there. Prove it. So maybe that's why they want those apps to do the contact tracing. I don't know, but they're providing liability protection for businesses to encourage them to be open and not be shut down for fear of getting sued. It's interesting. And of course, the public has the option to go or not go. And the concept is generally accepted safety standards, right? Okay, that would be link 3. But there's a great discussion in here, and I forgot which one it was, but you should check out both of them, where you have some stupid reporter where DeSantis is speaking, asks an obnoxious question, and it's unfortunate because you can't really hear the full question. But what he says is, he says, well, do you have evidence on that? It's like a presumptive question, one of these trick questions, assuming facts, not an evidence. And he literally says to her, and I'm so pleased, and in fact, that link just came out this morning out of Forbes, where he says, I don't trust the premise of the question. So show me evidence that this is what it is, and then I'll entertain it. Otherwise, I'm not entertaining that. Let's move on to the next question. And I'm so pleased he did that. And I've been saying that and thinking that for years when Trump was doing his press conferences with these obnoxious leading questions, assuming facts, not in evidence questions. And he would get into the arguments and debates. I don't know. He had the patience of a saint to deal with these people. But they're doing a similar kind of an attack plan on DeSantis. And this was a very pleasant experience. It's kind of a slap down. I think on one of these videos it says, oh, he snaps at the reporter. Well, he didn't snap. He just said, hey, I don't trust the premise of the question. No snapping involved, campers. No snapping involved. Okay. Number 4, excuse me, is the, what's his name? Roman Balmakov. That's our man from the Epoch Times. Facts matter. He does a couple of things in this that are really great. And I caught this late last night. I said, this is excellent. I need to share it. And he's discussing the whole Antifa thing going on in Portland. And, you know, they've got acknowledgments of Antifa. Do they have fundraising and a headquarters? And this guy, Chris, what's his name, who's the FBI, says they're an ideology, not a reality. Now, I still submit that you have people aiding and abetting government employees like mayors, police perhaps, governors, supporting Antifa who have declared war against the U.S. What is great about this is somewhere about the 8 or 10 minute mark, Epoch Times had done a short video, the video history. Ray, thank you. A short video history of Antifa. This was excellent because they came in as a communist operation in Germany from Russia to promote communism by opposing Nazism. Isn't that an interesting play? This shows you the unseen hands controlling both sides of this and who funded that war. And I was discussing this concept the other day, and at the end of World War II, it was supposed to be an anti-Nazi thing. Yet look at the expansion of communism. You had the grip of Eastern Europe suddenly became communist, was given to the USSR. And then shortly thereafter, you have China goes communist. So this was a major communist push. And we know who funded both sides of that war, don't we? The same people who promote it today. Imagine that. Our international bankers. What's his name? Rothschild. That's him. Them. Okay, but this is a good little piece. It's number 4, Facts Matter with Roman, and he goes by Roman. I guess he doesn't like his last name, Balmakov. I guess he could change it, and somebody said that the other day, that grown-ups should have the right to change their name if they don't like it, right? And it's pretty funny because Jacqueline is in the house. Jay-Z's, yeah, no. You're talking about Harry. Harry, baby, and his little squeaky chimp. That's Waldo, isn't it? Facts Matter with Roman Balmakov. This is a good piece. I'm trying to remember what the first part of it was, but the second piece was this Antifa thing in Portland and Seattle, and it's just nuts. And they're violently attacking people out there. And the government, and that's right, he brought out somebody who came out and said that elected officials have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and the laws. Oh, that's right. Actually, I don't know if it was that piece. May have been. Yeah, it was. In Maryland, in Baltimore, they're not going to be prosecuting what they're calling minor crimes, drug offenses and possessions and prostitution and minor crimes. And this way they can focus on bigger, more violent crimes. Now, what's interesting is Dan Bongino made the point that in New York, in East New York, which is a real rough section, when they would stop turnstile jumpers, which is a real minor crime, right? What are you talking about? 50 cents, a dollar, or whatever. They jump the turnstile going into the subway to avoid paying. And if they let that go, it's one thing. But if they stop them, what happens? They run, what do they call that? A search to see if there's any wants and warrants on these guys. And the bottom line is they would find them, that they'd be wanted for this, that, the other. They didn't appear in court, etc., etc. And they were connected to other crimes. So it's the mindset of the recidivist, of the scofflaw, of the sociopathic mindset that violates the simple rules of society. And those are the people that escalate their criminal activities. So if you let the bottom slide, it gets bigger. That's his position. It made a lot of sense. Now, prostitution is interesting because what do you have there? You have all kinds of drugs. You have all kinds of criminal, illegal activity, weapons, etc. So if you're going to leave that alone, okay. Now, it's the Soros plan. It's fascinating. So let's see how this experiment plays out in Baltimore, and it's Maryland. All right? Very interesting piece, and they address the data on it. No tripod today, campers. Sorry about that. That's number 4. Number 5 is our man, Never Alone with Christ. This guy is great, and a couple of things popped up. This is a real short clip. You need to catch it because he's speaking about Biden and the border wall and the executive order, and it's about a 2-minute clip. And he makes the point, and I would argue he is right, that Biden is the insurgent, and I've said this. Who's behind the fences preventing the public from getting there? Fences, walls, armed security, checkpoints, while wearing masks, speaking to the public. Are these people the insurgents? While executive orders are issued directly undermining the security of the country and not enforcing the laws that are there. Interesting perspective. And they're doing all this while accusing people who object to it as being insurgents. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Handbook for Radicals, right? Saul Alinsky. And I said this a long time ago, and I'll repeat. Just because insane behavior is written down as a tactic, doesn't make it any less insane. So because you codify insanity, that makes it normal and palatable. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Let's turn it upside down, but we will be restrained here. All right. The next one is great. So check out number 5. Next one is Brendan O'Connell, and this is a boom. Brendan O'Connell connects up with Bergy, and they have like an hour conversation. This was amazing, and I kept getting interrupted, and it pissed me off yesterday. It was a horror show day. But I finally sat and listened to it, and it's amazing because Bergy is the guy with Shadowgate that Webb originally found and revealed him, and then et cetera, et cetera. But evidently, according to him, Webb, and I'll have to ask him, kind of shit on Bergy. But I don't know that that's true. I don't remember that. But or did Webb go after Millennial Millie after she did her Shadowgate? So we'll have to inquire. But the intricacies that Bergy reveals of who's in what business and who's connected and who's working where is an amazing, we'll have to call it nothing short than an infestation of the intelligence community and or counterintelligence operations running through the software that he designed and built for the military for psychological operations. And it is now being used by private industry owned by those same military people. He says General Jones and Dynology, and there was another couple of companies in there. And the owner, what was it, Cambridge Analytica? And I think he was saying that was Mercer, and that and this other kid, this what's his name, Akbar, who changed his name to Alexander, who worked on McCain's thing. This is amazing, and both of them agree that it's a very small group of people creating this havoc, and it could be stopped. I liked what Bergy said a lot, and this is on O'Connell's website. A little strange, but it's better than having to get censored on YouTube. So you click on it, and I'm putting the link in here. So I'm putting the link in talpiot.tech. That's the domain name. And number 7 is another version, talpiot.tech/talpiot-tech. Either one should bring you to the videos. Scroll down, and you'll see it, and you'll see Bergy. Now, he did another video yesterday. This Bergy video is like 2 videos back. So you got to fiddle with it. I got it to play fine on the phone, and it opens in its own little player, which is very cool. But an excellent piece, and I would urge you to share it. And they are suggesting it, and Bergy's writing a new book, and he's got some lawsuits going, and I would love to speak with him because I'd like to help him. I want to understand more because sometimes he's all over the place and there's so much stuff I can't follow it. But I think it's great stuff. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you. So I've got 6 links, but the 7th is that extra. The O'Connell-Bergy thing is huge. Never Alone with Christ is the discussion of Biden's actions on the border wall. Facts Matter with Roman at the Epoch Times. COVID liability protection for businesses is DeSantis. The actual executive order outlawing the COVID passport, and DeSantis' discussion at link number 1 explaining the vaccine passport. Now, the litigation that's going to happen is what happens when Florida says no passport is allowed, not required, it's not allowed, and let's say the next state, Georgia or Alabama or Mississippi, says it is, it's needed. How do you travel from state to state? And this becomes a violation of the Commerce Clause, doesn't it? So now it becomes an issue. What happens if you want to get on a plane? If the plane says, okay, airline, we're not going to let you on without proof that you've been vaccinated, again, who's going to litigate that? That means airlines aren't going to come to Florida. Interesting. So I'm glad he got ahead of this. So now what if New York says you must have it? Florida says, oh no. So are we now balkanizing these United States? We are testing the federalism theory experiment, aren't we? So this is very interesting times we're living in. All right, campers, I'm going to leave it there for you. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely check these links. This is not just FJ yammering. This is good stuff for you. I'm going to throw the other link in the Patreon as well as this, which is the discussion with Shannon. This is just shy of an hour. So what I'm going to do, and this will be the update for you, the Zoom is amazing there. I can do a green screen on that without having a green screen behind me. So I have found some really nice backgrounds that will be quite something. And I can share screen because I worked with her after our interview on playing with the blog. So I'm making progress with all of these things. So what I want to do is probably a Zoom video, upload it onto Brighteon, then come back here and tell you about it and put a link in, right? So it's a double layer of work, and that's my plan at the moment. So I'd like to do another video later, play with the green screen, because I have a lot more stuff. There are several lawsuits out of Europe that the courts have declared that the restrictions that who put out the restrictions, the governments have put on people's rights are unconstitutional and aren't justified by the facts. Interesting stuff. Now let's see what impact that has. I think they'll be ignored, but we'll discuss that later. Let me see, it's a big comment floated by. Holly there. You got Kevin McCarran, and Brandon did a what? 3-hour on Kevin's main channel. Yep. Well, great. I generally don't have 3 hours to do something like that, Holly. Hello, E-Cat. Love your work, man. Free eyes, maybe. MK Ta. Hey, yo. Yo, yo. Happy Easter, y'all. So, that's what we got. Ming, there you are. Good to see you. We're coming in from the Asian contingent. Wonderful. So what else was I going to say here? Yeah, so that's pretty much the deal. Yeah, this discussion with Bergy is great. It's a little tweaky on the website. You want to check it out. And we'll see. You know, somebody's asking, how long am I going to be in Venice Beach? I was in Venice Beach in California. You mean Venice, Florida? I don't know. I'm not sure where the hell they're meeting. So once I go out there, a couple days probably. Why, E-Cat? Jesus has risen. Jesus is the light of the world. Amen. It's an interesting book called Holy Blood, Holy Grail that questions that. Why would the Romans take down a crucified body? Their standard procedure was to leave them up, to let them rot as a terror campaign to the citizenry of the power of government. Yet, this particular one was taken down and put in a cave with a large stone. How could that be? Were those guards bribed? No doubt. Hello, Amy P. Yeah, Brendan's video is good. That needs to be shared because Bergy really has a lot of information, and I think it's tremendous in there. And hopefully they'll do it again. The whole connection with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all of these little shill people out there. And he speaks very directly about Mr. Goodman with much love and affection. And it's fascinating, all of the people out there that are the goofballs in the YouTube space. Fascinating. But I think Brendan might be incorrect in accusing George of having, what was his name, Hopsicker, take down that book from Mint Press. I don't think that is accurate. I asked George about it, but if I get out there, and we're still in the if mode, looking strong, but it's an if, we'll inquire, because I'm always big on what's the story with this. And I also think, since we're rambling here, that if you've got these politicians and they get to make their little tweety chirps like the Alexandria Cortez chick, big mouth, but doesn't do anything. But I guess what she does is lead the charge and push everything left to reduce the sensitivity of it, right? And the bottom line is, how do they make these things without any response? These clowns, as elected officials, make statements. They should be questioned about them. And thus, when you take over the media and the media doesn't question them, well, that becomes an interesting problem. Yet social media has become a new problem because these people need to be making a comment and then questioned. But if the questions are blocked or the people asking those questions are censored or deplatformed, what do we got going on here? So what's interesting is they have these hearings and they ask, the heads of these social media companies, blah, blah, blah. And their response is, well, we're working on it. We're changing the algorithm. I'll look into it. I'll get back to you on that. Do they bring people up who are independent thinkers and or experts and ask them, hey, what's the solution? What can we do about this situation? Right? So if they're not looking for the answers, I don't think they're going to find the answer, right? Like, gee, where's that server? The way Task Force walked around when the police were up in D.C., looking in the back of the mail. Is it there? Is it under the car? Where's the server? Yeah. Is it in Ukraine? Is it in Biden's office? Is it in Hillary's office? Yeah. But if you don't like Bush looking for those weapons of mass destruction under his desk after they released the Rumsfeld theory of shock and awe on Iraq. Uh-huh. All right, we'll leave it there. And hopefully we'll have a peaceful day. Good stuff on these links for you, campers. If you like the thinking, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, you can join Patreon. I am putting the link in, and I appreciate the support, and I thank the patrons. Yay! And if you want to shoot a direct single contribution and not be a monthly patron, then you can fire that in through PayPal, and that comes directly to me, and we don't wait a month. And if you do that, please put in a comment. I love them, and I respond, and we can have some communications, right? And I appreciate that as well. All right, campers, thank you kindly. We'll be back at you later. I'll see if I make one of those cool green screen videos, because you can actually share it. It was great. So I could actually open screens, have a YouTube video, show screens. You could do that all on Zoom. It's amazing. The only thing is I can't do that on a live stream, but I think you can do it in a large meeting. So it's a little different, and I guess you can record that too. So it's pretty amazing technology, and again, I'm delving into it, and there's really a lot to learn, and it's tedious going through it. But we shall ramble on, because sometimes I grow so tired. But there's just one thing I gotta do. We'll see you all later. Bye for now. FJ out.